I would submit that there is no more important vote that we will cast in this legislative session, and perhaps no more important vote than we will cast in our legislative career. My father was a pilot. He passed away 3 years ago next month. A private pilot, and as we would fly, he had car washes in Arizona and car washes here in Utah, and we'd fly over the Grand Canyon, and he would always ask, "Your engine just went out. Where are you going to land?" And we'd scout around, and he would talk about how much glide path we had, and he would always say, "You fly the plane until it stops." Pilots die when they take their hands off the wheel and panic. You fly the plane until it stops. There's some serious check engine lights on. Was mentioned $22 trillion. We have a court that decides to change the Constitution every day. We have agencies that enact law that Congress could never pass, and there's no accountability. The plane's in trouble. The plane is in trouble, and someday our grandchildren, our children will ask us, how did you let this come to $1 trillion a year in interest that is just 10 years away? How did you let this come to the fact that my entire future is mortgaged? James Madison, when he introduced the Bill of Rights in Congress, the 10th Amendment, introduced the Bill of Rights under Article 5, said the state legislatures will jealously and closely watch the operations of this national government, and they will resist with more effect every assumption of power, because you, are the sure guardians of the people's liberty. Let's talk about what an Article 5 process is, the process of the Constitution. Imagine someone saying, we can't let a bill go to the Transportation Committee. They might change the law for the entire state of Utah. We can't let that bill even go to the committee, because they might change the whole law just by what they do in committee. A convention of states is a committee of states. We officially enact a committee of states to discuss proposals, discuss the problems, discuss potential solutions, and then the committee does what our committees do here. They make recommendations. And then it has to go to the legislative body, which is the people of the United States of America. And it's not just like the legislative body here that it's passed by a simple majority. As was mentioned earlier, the people have to approve that recommendation of the governing committee of the states officially convened by 75%. We've sworn an oath. We've sworn an oath to all 7 articles of the Constitution, and if we panic and take our hands off the wheel, if we're afraid when we are the sure guardians of the people's liberty, we should just surrender the pilot's license now. As was said earlier, I don't believe that we're incapable of self-governance. Thomas Jefferson has said, that's the great question of all the age. Is man capable of self-governance, or must he be ruled forever over by a self-anointed elite? It's not what our Constitution does. We are indeed the sure guardians of the people's liberty. George Washington said, if in the opinion of the people the distribution or modification of the constitutional powers is ever in any particular wrong, let it be changed by an amendment, the way the Constitution designates. But let there be no change by usurpation, for though that may be the instance of good in one instance, it's the customary weapon by which free governments are destroyed. My dear colleagues, let's fly the plane. Hopefully it never stops, and we soar this thing into the next generations. I encourage your support with all the fiber of my being.
Go to conventionofstates.com, press the button, sign the petition. More importantly, get 10 of your friends to do the same. When you sign the petition, then that sends a letter to your state legislator. You go on the list in their district as a supporter. We deliver those lists to the state legislators. It means something to them.